Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I'll declare the meeting open on the 3rd of September and welcome you all here. In the event of an emergency, the building may be evacuated. You'll be required to vacate the building by the rear entrance and gather at the breezeway between the library and art gallery buildings. This is Council's designated emergency muster point. Under no circumstances is anyone permitted to re-enter the building until the all clear has been given in the area deemed safe by authorised personnel. In the event of the evacuation, a member of council staff will assist any persons present with a disability to vacate the building. No apologies.
Correct.
This council meeting is being live streamed and recorded. By speaking at this council meeting, you agree to be live streamed and recorded. Please ensure that if and when you speak at this council meeting, that you ensure you are respectful to others and use appropriate languages at all times. Orange City Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this meeting. A recording of this council meeting can be made for administrative purposes. I would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people who are the traditional custodians of the land. I'd also like to pay respect to elders, both past and present, of the Wiradjuri Nation and extend that respect to other Aboriginal Australians who are present. Any declarations, councillors? Councillor Miletto.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and service and the last term of council, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Item number 5.2, Mr Mayor. I'd like to declare a significant non-procuring conflict of interest in that item. I'll be leaving the room. I am the President of the Orange District Football Association, and the person who has been identified as having that building named after them is running number 6 on my ticket, so I won't be voting and I'll be leaving the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Miletto. Any other declarations? Councillors, we've got some late items. We need a resolution to permit the report to be heard. Item 4.1, notice of motion naming of Orange Sports Precinct Stadium, and item number 4.2, notice of motion conference report national local government housing. Moved by Councillor Duffy, seconded by Councillor Greenhalgh. All those in favour? Against? Carried. We'll move on to mayoral minutes, and my last one is the Country Mayors Association general meeting of the 9th of August. I have a mover. Thank you, Councillor Floyd, seconded by Councillor Duffy. Any speakers? There being no speakers, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? Carried. We'll move on to 3.1, which is the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 20th of August.
Minutes, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Whitten, seconded by Councillor Mallard. Any speakers? Councillor Kinghorn.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, I just need to acknowledge that at that meeting I said that I couldn't find where we had been sent a copy of the brief that was given to Brooke Pendlebury, the Lord's Place reviewer. It had been sent, I hadn't seen it, so I would just like to thank you, Council, for sending it again and apologise for making you do it twice.
Thank you, Councillor Kinghorn. Any other speakers? There being no other speakers, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? Carried. I'll move on to notices of motion rescission. Late item number 1. I'll move from the chair, naming of the Orange Sports Precinct Stadium, seconded by Councillor Floyd. Any speakers? Councillor Miletto.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move another motion, if I can, please.
An amendment?
Yep. Thank you for the notice of motion. I would like the matter to be deferred to the new council. Say that, whilst I totally understand the sentiment of it, I think that we have spoken in this council before about transparency and involving in the community in different things. Whilst I think that the previous mayor would be a fantastic person to name the stadium after, I think that it should be the decision of the community and the next council to do that. So I'll be moving an amendment that the...
Have we got a seconder for the amendment? Okay, the amendment's lapsed. Any other speakers on the motion? Councillor Whitten.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, yeah, I think it's a fitting motion to name the sporting precinct after the late John Davis. Certainly a gentleman that I spent 14 years as a councillor with, and we didn't always see eye to eye, but we certainly, the thing I did like about John Davis as the mayor was that whenever he put his mind to something and said he was going to do it, it was done. And if you look at what was achieved under his mayoralship, the aquatic centre, the police boys relocation, the water pipeline, the northern distributor completed to the Great Western Highway or to the Mitchell Highway. Numerous things. I think the amount of things that were achieved in that period of that 14 years hasn't been matched by any mayor preceding or following. And if you look at, he was already 13 years as a mayor for Blaney Council as well. So I think it's a fitting, I suppose, memorial, if I could use that word, to John Davis, because the sporting part of his life was very strong. If you look at what he did for Blaney Bears, what he did for Rugby League in Group 10 in Orange, all of the sporting groups that he would sponsor. So I think, well done, Mr. Mayor, for putting this up, and I fully support it 100%.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I'm supporting of this too. I was actually going to speak against the amendment, but obviously it didn't get up. Look, I get that we want to have community input on things, but as Councillor Whitten's mentioned, it's time for the next council isn't actually going to change what John Davis contributed to our community. And I absolutely agree. I think this is a fitting way of putting his name to something that's going to be lasting for a very long time.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Any other speakers? Councillor Greenhalgh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm in full support of this motion. The only thing I think that's sad about this is the fact that John Davis isn't here to see it come to fruition, and I think it's very fitting for all the efforts he's done for our community, and his family, obviously, as is most of our community, are very proud of the achievements that he's done, and I think this is a great way to recognise that.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Any other speakers? Councillor Duffy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to support this resolution. I think it's probably very apt. I mean, I've had discussions with viewers about the issues that were involved, and I just read a little bit about his time on councils, Blaney and Orange and all those type of things, and Councillor Whitten was right, some of the things that he achieved that was here, but he had a very good experienced council with him as well, which included yourself. But I just wonder, the biggest reason why I'm supporting it is you have a look at these contributions to the City of Orange and all those type of things there. I've got a list here of about 110 organisations that he sponsored. And I'm talking about Cancer Care West Lodge, which he raised money for, and I think we're talking nearly millions of dollars for that. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I know Arnie raised a pittance amount when you compare it to that. But yet I had a friend of mine who we used to call him Fatty. 3 days before he died, he came to me and said, Kev, I want to tell you something. The best thing that you and John Davis did was raise funds for that Western Care Lodge, because he had to go to Sydney every week treatment, and it virtually broke him. And he said, he didn't have a family, young family, which was probably a godsend at the time. But you look at it here, Burke Community Outback Trek, Cruising Along Trek, Orange City Rugby Club, Emus Rugby Club, Orange Hawks, Blaney, Orange Sims, JD's Hockey, Netball, City of Orange Veterans Golf Club, Millamalong Poland Club, Orange Show Society, Orange Community Christmas Lunch. The list just goes on and on. Orange Wine Festival, multiple touch football teams, hockey, netball, 8-day games, all those types of things. He didn't have to do it. Didn't have to do any of that. Even though it was probably part of his business, he didn't have to do it. Absolutely brilliant. And that's the biggest reason why I'm supporting it. Absolutely brilliant as far as I'm concerned. I'll just tell you a story about John. And now, me and John, some days we had 2 S's, one for snarling and one for smiling, and that's how we got along. But I just want to say this much about him, is that Sister Mary Trainer, she's in the 90s now. She's a Sister Mercy nun with my auntie, who was also a Mercy nun, and she rang me up one day and she said, "Kevin, I want you to ask John Davis if he can donate something to us because we're having a raffle for." She used to look after Bloomfield Hospital, something out there with the patients out there, and she said, "Okay." I said, "Look," I said, "you don't need me to do it." I said, "You can go and ask John; he'll do it for you." She said, "Oh no, I feel better if you do it for me." I said, "Okay, right." So I walked into John's office and I said, "JD," I said, "Sister Mary Trainer wants me to ask you, can she have something to raffle for the thing out of Bloomfield?" He said, "No hesitation. Look, in the back room there," he said, "there's a heap of stuff there. Grab whatever you want and give it to her and tell her to raffle it, and I hope she makes a lot of money." Now, that is the type of person, there's a reason why I'm supporting this. But in saying that, I also want to acknowledge a couple of other councillors that are here that I think we should be acknowledged at a later date. And I'm talking about Taylor, I'm talking about Turner, I'm talking about these other guys that put in 20 Willis, 27 years. But I think at this occasion, this is right. But I also think the other grounds, we should look at James Grant, Darren Brett, Jack Wrighton and those type of things for the other grounds. But this one here, I'm happy to support.
Any other speakers? Okay, well, I'll just close the debate. Everyone knows how close I was to John Davis, and I wanted to put this up as probably my last business in the council by myself. I understand what Councillor Miletto's saying, but sometimes you've got to put motions up, and that's what we get. What we get the big dollars for is to put motions up and vote on them. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who disagree with this, and a lot of people who will totally agree with it. But that's what we do. We put motions up and we vote on it. So I'm just over the moon that I've got everyone supporting this, and I thank you very much. So I'll put the motion. All in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Our next item is 4.2, General Report, National Local Government. You'll move that. I'll second that. Councillor Mallard, did you want to speak on it at all?
A few words
briefly,
Mr Mayor. Thanks. And I know this is coming as a late item, but I did want to note there is a report that's linked in there that I'd encourage people to take a look at. Equity Economics have done some interesting work on sort of documenting the situation for where local government sits in trying to play a role in addressing the housing crisis. And yes, some of it is definitely about lobbying and pressure for other levels of government, particularly to fix the problems we have with things like infrastructure funding, the financial sustainability of local government. We need to address those things, but there was a lot of work and a lot of discussion at the summit about things where local government is just taking the initiative and trying out new things. And a number of councils acknowledging that we tend to stay in our lane and take conservative approaches as the natural way, which is understandable. But there are actually, if you get in and look at the opportunities, there are ways to not make a profit out of it, but to do some good while making a difference on the housing crisis. So, yeah, I think that it was a useful event. It was a hell of a trip. I want to thank the Mayor for his company through extensive flight delays.
My goodness.
I want to thank the staff for arranging the hire car to get us home when the final leg of the trip got cancelled. Thanks to Kath and Jess for that. And, yeah, it was good to have a little road trip before you wrapped up, Mr Mayor, I'm sure. But yeah, it was a useful event, and yeah, encourage people, anyone who's coming into the chamber for the next term. I think we really need to keep looking at new ways we can pitch in, and good to see local government as a national association getting really systematic about trying to put the pressure on other levels of government, but also to pull together the evidence about what's happening in different parts of the country and how it's working. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Mallard. Yeah, it was quite a trip, especially the trip down. We were circling Adelaide for 45 minutes and then had to stay on the plane for 50 minutes because there was a massive lightning storm. But the conference was just interesting in just seeing how other councils are now they're not leaving it up to federal and state governments. Local governments are now coming on board, and the different ways and means they're trying to tackle the the crisis that we have around the country. So I think that conference is really important just to get some ideas about how we can go forward and how other councils are joining together and buying land and doing whatever. So yeah, it was a great conference. So thanks for that. Any other speakers? There being no other speakers, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, general reports. Item 5.1, responses to questions on notice. I have a mover. Thank you, Councillor Kinghorn. Seconded by Councillor Floyd. Any speakers? Councillor Kinghorn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to thanks for adding this to this meeting. That's one of the things I asked for last time, and I honestly expected to have to fight a bit more to get you to do it. So I was surprised to see it there. I did read have a bit of a flick through the Local Government Act on Sunday, and under the section 9.17 of the Code of Meeting Practice, it does say that responses to questions taken on notice are required to be tabled at the following council meeting. So presumably that's why I didn't have to fight about this, and I'm guessing that moving forward this is what will happen. Is that right?
Mr. Chair, yeah, I think that is something we should have been doing more of. Okay. We will do that.
Thank you.
Any other Oh, you finished, Councillor? Yep. Any other speakers? Councillor McDonald, did you want? No.
Just very briefly, just a typo, 1 N, 2 L's, but it was Brooke's error, not staff's. So.
What page?
Page 29, page 4 of her report.
I will have the staff member flogged.
No, it's Brooke. It wasn't staff member, so the staff member's fine.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So it's all good.
I'll have Brooke flogged.
Any other speakers? There being no other speakers, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? Carried. From 5.2, female change rooms, accessible amenities, St Jack Bradburn Park. Councillor Miletto is seen to be leaving the room. Wait for him to leave. Moving it, Councillor Duffy.
No, I'm going to speak against it because I'm sure we can find a woman.
Hang on, can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Floyd, seconded by Councillor Peterson. Speakers, please. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you. I just find picking up on what Councillor Duffy I think is about to say too. I find it interesting that we're naming female change rooms after a man. I think the optics of that is a little bit odd, but I mean I don't have a problem with acknowledging Brett's contribution, but I don't know that this is actually the right facility.
Councillor Duffy.
I'd like to move an amendment that this matter be deferred until we get some more information, because I think there needs to be a motion, which I'm sure there's a lot of talented females out there that have done an absolute amount of work in the area of sport, that we can name these appropriately after someone, especially female change rooms.
You'll second that? Councillor Peterson.
To speak for the amendment, I was a bit torn because, it is the ODFA's nominee, and I'd like to acknowledge that. But I guess if you went back to them and said, would you consider the female change room and maybe a female representative might be a better fit, it would be very interesting to see what they say.
Any other? Councillor Kinghorn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just curious. I couldn't find anywhere in here about what Brett Hazzard thought about this, and I would like to know that.
Through Mr. Chair, we might ask Mr. Maunder, I think, who might have been integral to this project. Mr. Hazzard,
through Mr. Mayor, we simply approached ODFA for their nominee, and they provided the information that's before council. And we did point out project nature, which is obviously highlighted in the report and where the funding came from. There was a suggestion put forward that the other facility that's adjacent to it, if they wanted to consider it, may be named after Mr. Hazzard. Change rooms then is named after a female representative. However, it was up to the ODFA as to who they put forward for this matter, and that was what they chose to do. I don't have any more information on that. We simply approached them and that was their nominee. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. So if we did have this amendment, then would that be something that would be taken into account? Would somebody ask him? Or do I have to add that later?
Mr. Chair, we will do that. If it's deferred, absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other speakers? Councillor Whitten.
Look, Mr. Mayor, a bit like every councillor in the room, the service that Brett has given to female soccer football, like he initiated a lot of what the competitions are in Orange today and surrounding areas, and I can understand why they may have why they would have put him up for this award or for the naming of these change rooms. But again, I'd like to, as Councillor Kinghorn has suggested, get his input on what he thinks and about this. And it's a great honour to be put forward by any organisation to have a facility named after you, because he's done a mountain of work in establishing the female competition in this town. So if you look at it in that light, it is certainly deserving of this facility being named after Brett. So in saying that, even though I seconded the amendment for discussion, I'm still going to support the recommendation because it has come from the group that council staff asked who we should name this facility after, and they've gone to the trouble of nominating Brett for this building. And if you really do look into what he has done for female soccer in the city, it certainly speaks for itself in this documentation that we have, so I'll be supporting it.
Councillor Duffy.
Yeah, I'm going to speak against the motion and for the amendment. I just one name that comes to think is Tani Norris. She grew up in this town here. We'll probably find others out there as well. So I think we should give it the opportunity to name both of them at the same time. So leave it for the next council, I say.
Any other speakers? Councillor Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that the Orange Football Club has taken ownership of this, is what the report says. They've said that they wish to do this, that nominee, and I'm speaking against the amendments. So, because we're taking it away from the very football field, football club itself. So, let us 12 make a decision on it. I feel it's just ridiculous. I just feel it's ridiculous when they have put up this name, and nominated this name to go forward. I'm well in support of the actual original motion because this football club has taken ownership. Where are we as 12 councillors stepping up to the plate and saying, "Oh, sorry, no"? I just disagree with it, and I support the original motion. Thank you.
Councillor Greenhalgh.
Yeah, I'm going to speak for the original motion. Being involved in a football club, I think regardless of whether you're male or female, your contribution to that club and that sport is what's most important. So I totally agree. If they've put him forward as the best candidate for the work that he's done, we all know women in all sports is just providing so much growth. And I think, looking back in 20 or 30 years, it'd be great to have that connection still to a female facility, because that's what he did, that's what he grew, that's his legacy. So I think regardless of sex, I'm going to speak for the original motion.
Any other speakers? I'm going to support the motion. I think, as the speakers have said, we gave it to the Soccer Association. They've come back with this, so I'm happy to support. He has. I'm looking at the. He has done a lot of work for the female football in Orange. There's no reason why we couldn't name the change rooms separately on top with female. Like, I think if you're going to go to an organisation and ask for their opinion, and if they bring back their opinion and we're saying no because of gender or whatever, I think why do we go to the association in the first place? So I'll be supporting the motion. Okay, I'll put the amendment. All those in favour? Or against? So the amendment comes to the motion. All those in favour? Sorry. Sorry, the amendment's lost. So I'll put the motion. All in favour?
Don't confuse me, mate.
I had to make a mistake on my last meeting, Jeff. Yeah. Can we get Councillor Miletto back in, please? Okay, councillors, last one is council term 2021 to September 2024. Can I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Mallard. Seconder, Councillor Powell. Any speakers? Well, I'm going to speak. I want to thank you all very much for being it's a great council. It's been an interesting term. I'd like to personally thank Gerald as the Deputy Mayor. He's been amazing. I'd like to personally thank the executive of the council. They've been so supportive and so helpful, especially I had 4 EAs, I think, during my term. So all of those, very helpful organising where I should have been and where I should have gone, and listen to them usually with a bit of yes, okay, no worries, like my second wife at work. I'd like to thank all the people who had belief in me over the last 20 years to keep voting me in. It means a hell of a lot to me. It wasn't easy. I'll be first to note that it wasn't easy being the mayor. It was such a transition that I didn't expect, but I got there in the end. I'd like to thank my family who out
in sympathy, don't do it.
No. Who rode the waves with me, whether they were rough or they were easy. My boys who kept me pretty honest about different things around the town and what we should have had. I'd really like to thank my wife because she's been through the ringer through this journey. And yeah, I'm only 53 and you never know, I might pop up in 4 more years. You never know. But I think I'll be, no, I won't be joining any committees. And I'd like to pay homage to all the previous councils that I've served on. Seeing Orange where it was when I first joined to where it is now, that transition is amazing, and the positive remarks you get from people around Australia saying, you live in such a great place, we love Orange, it's always on the map. And Orange is going in a really good way, and whoever gets on council and whoever becomes the next mayor, the transition of Orange is up, and I'm sure it'll only stay going up. And I just want to thank everyone. I really do. I want to thank Jack, who had his first term and now he's had enough already. You didn't stay around for 20 years to me to figure that out. But Jack, you've got new commitments and you've got new bubs and new families, mate. You've done very well, and I understand. I understand why. So, congratulations on your term, mate. Thank you. Councillor Whitten.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 20 years. So you and I came on together in 2004, and it might seem a long time for the councillors, but it has been so quickly. It's gone so fast, hasn't it, Jace? And we've been so blessed to be, I suppose, part of a unique family. The unique family is us people who sit at this table. And the beauty of debating is debating is just that. We're here representing the community. We're not here representing ourselves. We're here representing the community who elect us and put us here. And we don't always agree, and nor should we, because that is the healthy democracy that we live in. And I suppose Jason and I have been a part of a lot of change in that time. And that's really what is so good about being in a position that can bring change to the community, to benefit the community. And there's always been controversial things. Everything is controversial, but I think if we were to look at the things that were controversial and we were to go to the community today and say, we're going to take those things away from you now, that would be more controversial because it's now embedded into the community and that's part of what they get up every day, and it's just been there always for them. So we've always had full chambers on those controversial issues, and you mentioned here a moment ago, Mr. Mayor, the reason that the community put us here is to make the hard decisions. And sometimes it hurts really bad, right? But we have to. That's what we're here for. We make the decisions because the community have put us here to do that. And 50%, as we all know, today, the 50% who don't like us and the 50% who do love us, tomorrow with another decision, the ones that didn't like us love us and the other ones who did like us don't love us anymore. So that is the challenge as councillors. When we put our hand up, we know this, right? But I don't think we really know it until we sit here. So, Jason, it's been an honour to be your friend, your colleague and a fellow councillor. We've done some amazing things, and again, we haven't always seen eye to eye. What can you expect from a Bulldog supporter, you know? So I wish you well for the future with your family. And if you think back, our children were young, like they were still at school. They're now adults, got their own children. And that's happened whilst we've been on council. And we've worked with some amazing people, amazing staff, other councillors who are now, in the eyes of the community, as we've just seen, are legendaries. People for what they give up, what we all give up, to serve our community, and we choose to do that. So all the best to you, mate, for the future.
Thank you. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Firstly, 20 years is huge, and I take my hat off to you with deepest respects. To commit to anything for 20 years is massive, especially when you're getting paid very well. You're not getting paid a full proper wage like most people do for 20 years of a career. The time away from your family, particularly with young kids, the commitment of that 20 years is absolutely to be admired, and I thank you for that, and I know Orange thanks you for that. And I also thank you for having the strength to know when the next chapter is ready for you. And I wish you absolutely nothing but the best. I'm sure you're going to have a fantastic. You are young. You're still young. You've got plenty of working years left ahead of you. So I wish you absolutely all the best. I also want to say a huge thank you to council staff, because being one of 8 new councillors for this term, I know there's been a huge learning curve for us newbies. And I want to thank staff for their patience and their support and their understanding, because it hasn't been easy, I know, for them. It hasn't been easy for us. And we've got some incredible staff who I think, don't often get thanked enough and respected enough. So I want to say a huge thank you to staff, because when we couldn't do what we do without your support. So I really just wanted to impress upon that point. To my fellow councillors, it's been an interesting term, and I thank those who have been supportive and helped me grow as a leader. And I thank you again, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership. And I wish Jack all the best, because there's still plenty of time for you to come back. Give it 50 years and you could still come back. Thank you,
Councillor McDonald. Any other speakers? Councillor Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 20 years is quite good as well. I'll touch on it, but I'll come back to you.
Righto, thanks, Jack. I knew you would.
Councillors and staff, thanks for being part of my experience in local government. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with you. Whilst only a short term, I believe we've made some valuable contributions to our community. Particularly, I want to thank the proactive community committees I was able to engage with, such as Lucknow, who have seen a huge investment in their village in the last few years. From Councillor McDonald and the staff, Ellie and Nick as well, who have helped that along. It's been fantastic. We've also kept projects like the showground and the function centre alive. While we've not always allocated full budgets to them, we've kept the conversation there and the vision is still there as well. I'd also like to thank Business Orange and council staff for their continued support with projects like the Newcastle Air Route, which is still making steady progress, as well as the staff out at the airport. They really are maintaining and investing in a fantastic facility, so thanks to them as well. Being a councillor with deep roots in Orange and the region, and also having moved away and come back, I feel I stand on the divide of tradition and progress. While both have their pros and cons and projects that result as from either way of thinking, politicising such initiatives to further divide the community is not the way this council should move forward. In closing, I'd like to thank Councillor Hamling. 20 years is a fantastic job. Thanks for your years of service, and I wish you all the best in your next endeavours. Mr. CEO, your executive staff, executive team and staff, thanks for your advice and hard work. I have faith you'll continue working for the betterment of the Colour City. As for me, I look forward to spending time with my young family working in my business. But don't worry, I'll still be around. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Evans. Councillor Powell.
Thank you, Mr. May. Not too many times that I stand up, but thank you. It's been an amazing experience. And first of all, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your hard work and your wife, and enjoy. Because I've always said, family come first. Always family. But on that note, Mr. CEO, thank you. Amazing. I didn't really know how much you guys put in. Body. Respectful, Mr. Morder. Just about festivals, you staff, thank you. It's just amazing. Lee Daly, who yes, amazing people that provided documentation. Our comms team, I could not, and I speak of, I think the Mayor and I know that we rely on the comms team providing us documents to take this information back out there when we speak to media. And we were speaking literally multiple times a week, but we had to reflect what this council was doing as councillors, and also what the staff were doing and supporting the staff as a whole. So thank you so much, amazing directors, Ian. And it's just, I am really, my parents always said be grateful in life, because we got one life. So, sir, staff, councillors, thank you. Have a great night. And I'm going to enjoy a little bit of a break. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Greenhalgh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd just like to congratulate you on
Thank you.
all the efforts you've done for our community. I won't forget the day you called me and asked me to run on your ticket. And I said, I don't know that this is really for me. Thank you. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I look forward to, working together, hopefully with the next council. I think for a bunch of newbies, we've done all right. I think we've been very collaborative. We've been very professional, and we've achieved so many things we can be proud of in such a short term. Once again, to all the staff, we see firsthand what you guys do. When we've got events on Sundays and things like that, the staff are doing the overtime and, making all these plans come to fruition. Unfortunately, most of our community remember all the negative things, but it definitely does take a community to, as they say, raise a child, and I think we should all be very proud of what we've brought to this council term. I look forward to seeing what we can deliver in the next term. But thank you once again, Mr. Mayor, for your support. and to your lovely wife, Mel. She's been fabulous as well. So thank you and congratulations once again.
Thank you. Councillor Duffy. Last but not least. Oh, you're going to, sorry,
No, I'm going to be
second
serious,
last.
Mr. Mayor. I'm going to be serious. Look, I just want to say this: for 20 years, you've given due diligence to this council. You've also wore your heart on your sleeve, especially for the last 3.5 years that we've had been in this chamber, and it's been tough. Done an exceptional job with that. I also wanted to say that the fact you come up through, as I said, mentioned a bit earlier when I spoke about John Davis, you come through some pretty hard heads there, haven't you? Had some good mentors there. You've got Davis, Turner, Taylor, Kidd, Ryan, and possibly Whitten. Some very good community leaders, irrespective of their politics and what's there. But the thing that you've got your hands all over, is the sports precinct. Your hands were all over it. It didn't matter where it went. Yeah, okay, you're big behind the sports, the aquatic centre, you're big behind the NDR, the pipeline, the Orange 360 and all those type of things there. But the sports precinct has your name all over it. Day one, when I came into this change 12 years ago, that I supported you 100% with that. And thing. But I just want to, having been there, I just I think your family will be really pleased to have you back, because I know the workload that you put through, the rest that you go under of being a mayor, you've got it 24/7. It doesn't matter whether it's Saturday, Sunday, midnight, or whatever the case may be. You have to be there, and you have that feeling of want to do it because you put your hand up to do it, and because you want to achieve. And I think you have done that. And irrespective of what happens, the sports precinct is yours. I don't care what anyone else says. It's yours, and I thank you for that. And I wish you well. I do. I know we've had a few tough times, and I know we've had a few happy times in travelling. But yeah, well done, and I'm glad to give you back to your family. I think they'll be very appreciative of your time there.
Thanks, Councillor Duffy. Councillor Floyd.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I wasn't going to speak, but I'll be very brief because I think I really do need to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for what you've done for me personally over the past 2.5, 3 years. I did not know a person in here when I first come on. This was all like new. It was a new toy, but at the same time, it was terrifying. I had absolutely no idea what it was going to involve. So myself personally, I usually look to people who I consider like to be a figurehead or whatever to draw inspiration and draw knowledge from. And I drew that from you. I was, watched you the whole time that I've been here, and looked how you handled yourself, and tried to model, in a very small way what I do around how yourself and a couple of the more elder statesmen that we've got here on council do. And I really do thank you for that. I thank you for your time. Your 20 years. Orange will look back and go, this was a really good guy. This was someone that looked after us. And I do thank you for that. Councillor Evans, also thank you for your time. It's been brief, but I'm sure you'll be back. I certainly hope you are. Mr. CEO, I thank you and the staff, especially Director Hodges, for the support that you've given me, throughout my time here. I think we've certainly grown the city, but I also see the growth in myself and in the councillors as well. So I thank everyone for that. All I can say is to everyone, all the best. Thank you for all the support, and I wish everyone the best in whatever direction they take from here on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Floyd. Councillor Mallard.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'll just speak briefly, and yeah, first of all, add to the thanks and the congratulations for your 20 years of service, and I'll say that not only for myself, but recognising you've had 20 years of Greens councillors serving with you, and I know the respect and the friendship that you've had with some of those councillors as well. So on behalf of me, Stephen, Neil and Jeremy, thank you for your service, and all the best with whatever comes next. I know you've got plenty left to give it to the community in a whole lot of ways, doing whatever you want to do from here. But it's been a really significant contribution through council. And I do also want to acknowledge Councillor Evans's one term of service, you can still contribute a hell of a lot. And what you have brought to this council, I think the mayor talking before about the change that we've seen in this city and the way things transform, you're really representative of the modern, progressive colour city that we are turning into. So I know you're going to do great stuff, whatever you do from here. All the best to you and your family. Yeah, I think everyone else has already acknowledged the staff, but I think it's really important, the amount of work, the nights. I think it's really important that we brought our meeting times forward to try and keep staff from being kept here late, just so that we can spend our time yakking at each other. But yeah, I think the amount that all of the staff all across council have contributed, the staff who support us in the community committees as well, and bring their expertise into those discussions and work with us and the community members, I think that's really important. So yeah, I just and thank you to the other councillors. It's been I mean, I'd had a bit of engagement with council processes before. I'd worked as state parliament before, so I sort of maybe knew what I was getting into more than some, but I think this has been a positive council in terms of, we had a lot of new councillors come in. I think that helped in we weren't so entrenched in our ways. We had a bit of diversity, but I think we all came at trying to work together quite well. And yeah, wish everyone all the best. And yeah, thanks very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Mallard. Councillor Peterson.
Could I just echo what's been said around this table, particularly a thanks to the 520 staff who put the sort of thoughts and strategies that come from this place into action. I just particularly wanted to thank all 11 councillors in this room, besides myself. Iron sharpens iron. We've all made each other better. I don't think there's been any councillor that I haven't learned something from or had a different point of view explained to me or put to me. So I thank everyone for what they've done to make me a better councillor and make this chamber function better.
Councillor Kinghorn.
Lucky last. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I first met you when you were 16 years old. When I first started looking at council meetings, the thing that I really admired about you then was that if you didn't have anything to say, you didn't say anything. It was so refreshing. There was no waffling just for the sake of it. And it means that when you do have something to say, it matters. And I really respect that. So thank you for staying like that. All the best.
Thank you.
I'm sad that you're going. I've seen you struggle a bit over the last few years, and I'm sad that you're leaving. I think you've done a good job. And I would echo the thanks to the staff. I know that they don't always realise that I actually do appreciate most of the work that they do, and a special thanks to Mark Hodges, who's been very, very supportive of me, especially at times when I've been struggling a bit. So thank you, Mark. And everybody else, it's been nice to meet anyone who I didn't already know, and it's been interesting working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kinghorn.
I think it's my report, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Councillors, look, I've said a few things in the report, but just reflecting on what you've said, I won't repeat what you've said, but to you, well done. 8 new councillors. When I think of 3 years ago, the steps you've made and we've made together, I think it's been a remarkable term. So congratulations to you. You think about a Landcom project, 330 houses, including 25% affordable at the gate of the city. That didn't even exist when you started. So hats off to you for everything you've achieved. And on behalf of staff, thanks for saying those nice words. Staff, they take real pride in their work, and thank you for the respect you've shown staff. Executive, thank you. This is not a Waddell farewell speech. So thank you, councillors. Thank you very much. And Mr. Mayor, I don't know what to say. You and I have spent so much time together in the last 3 years. We've seen ups and downs and boring conferences and meetings, and we've raised eyebrows, but we've spent some great time, and it has been fascinating getting to know you, and thank you for your support. I can truthfully say that, your support has, that's what gets us going, and you've been 100% behind us. In terms of any time in the future you don't think you did well, just remember, you were the second popularly elected Mayor of Orange. Hats off to you. I think you've done a great job. We as staff wish you all the best for the future. And if everyone would indulge me, we might have 3 cheers for the Mayor. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray!
Before I put to the vote, I do want to thank all the staff. They're out there putting our decisions in place. They're out there doing what we have voted on. So I know they, a few times they've copped a bit of flack from the public, but it was us that made the decisions. So the way they handled it, I think, was fantastic. Good luck in the upcoming elections in a couple of weeks. It's going to be interesting to see who gets back where and who sits in this chair, and whoever sits in this chair, good luck. If you need anything, I'm around. You can ask me. Happy to give advice, but I just want to thank everyone, and I'll put the motion for the last time. All those in favour? Unanimous.
Unanimous.
The meeting closed at 7:21, and thank you all for your attendance. Thank you.
You.